This is Chad Dukes, and we're talking with, of course, Little Evil Jens Pulver. I can hear the pain in your voice, and I really appreciate you being so forthcoming. It's really refreshing to hear somebody on your level do this. But you've got to look at what you've got and what you've accomplished. You went the complete opposite way that most people do that had your family upbringing. They go to crime, they go to drugs, and you're one of the most miraculous fighters on the planet. You took all of that negativity and turned it into something so positive that there's kids out there right now that be like, oh, my God, I could be Jens Pulver. I could be fighting the WEC. I can fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
You have to take a lot of pleasure in that.
I do. That I do. And that's the one thing that allows me to have a relationship with my brother who's serving 55 years in prison.
Wow.
And we're a year apart. That's also why I have a relationship with my other brother who has a master's in literature and teaches at the junior high we grew up in, and a sister who lost her kids, can't stay off drugs, and completely just chaos.
Yeah.
And but I can talk to them all because, like I said, you know what? It takes my job in life is going to be to work with kids and people who have been in trouble and have been abused and have been hurt, because the one thing I've always hated and the one thing I could never stand is a guy in a suit who probably learned it from a book going to sit there and tell me what I did wrong, how I reacted wrong. And it's like, you don't know me. People aren't going to respect you, and they ain't going to listen to you. Why do you think kids are acting the way they're acting these days, especially with teachers? You know who they don't act like that to? Me.
Yeah.
Why? Because, man, I've danced with the devil, held his hand, and come back to the other side and tell people what it's like.
Yeah.
I don't have to do all that punk. I don't have to punk out by doing drugs and quitting. I just keep battling. And when you meet people like that, it's hard to call bullshit. And I know I'm in that position, and I know I'm in that role, and that's why I try the best I can to help anybody that I can. And whenever I have a question, irony is I ask my brother, 55 years in prison, hey, man, you know, this happened and you turned here. Why? You know, what happened? So I try to learn. I try to learn what happened from him. And so when I do talk to people, you know, I don't seem like I'm so full of BS. Like there was this one kid, he just got burned. He got burned real bad. And they're like, hey, you know, it's his birthday. We're going to, sign a shirt and stuff and give it to him. I'm like, what? I go, I'll go. And then, are you serious? I go, yeah, I'll drive up there. So I called the Iowa City and said, hey, can I come hang out? And his name was Sean. I hope, hopefully he doesn't mind to use his name. His name was Sean. And so I went up there and, I got to hang out with him. And, I asked him what he wants to do now because he always loved MMA. He wanted to be a fighter. I said, well, there's always coaching. There's always things like that. And then he said, he wants to talk to people and he wants to help. And he wants them to be able to look at him, and say, hey, I don't have these gifts that you have. I don't have the abilities that you have. Don't waste what you got.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed that that's what he wants to do with his life. And I thought it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Someone else like that,
It sounds like it, man. And it sounds like that you're taking all of this energy and using it in the right way. And I got to ask you, when you get back into the cage and you know what your last fight with Faber was like, and you know how many guys loved that fight and loved watching it and said that's probably the fight of the year, what's your game plan going to be? How are you going to use all this stuff that you've got going on in your life and not let it overwhelm you when you get in the cage? Clearly, you're a veteran and you can control your emotions, but is that something you're going to feed off of when you get into the cage, or are you going to try to put that aside and just
I'll push it aside.
Yeah, really?
I'm going to push it aside and work on the things I knew I needed to work on going into that fight. Change the things that I know I need to change when I was going to fight him again. I knew when that fight was over I was going to fight him again. Didn't know when, but I knew I'd fight him again. Now I'm going to take these things, and every day I go into the gym, like I said, that's the hard part, the gym every day. Taking the 2 days to go do this, but I'll find some time to run. You know what I mean? Not being able to really put yourself into an isolated area and focus just on training and fighting. I don't have that luxury. Yeah. But you know what? That's okay. That's the way life is. Like I said, life throws you lemons, you make lemonade, I suppose. I guess it's coming true. But when it comes to the fight, I have the things I want to work on. I know what I did wrong, and I know what I can do differently, and I know the things I can change. Maybe this time, like I said, it's going to be a different fight. Not boring. Sure, it'll never be boring.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. And I'm really just focusing on the things I need to work on. And that's really all I got. I don't have time to think about, I've got plenty of time in a day when I'm not in the gym to think about the other stuff I have to do. But for those 6-7 hours I'm actually training, I'm focusing on one thing, changing up the things I need to change up, working on the things I need to work on, and trying to improve. Try not to lose 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Cannot do it. Can't win with him, can't coach. Hey, Jens, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been an amazing interview. And win or lose, I'd like to check in with you again after the fight. You're always such a great interview, and we're all rooting for you here, man. Congratulations.
Hey,
bro.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I'll be in touch.
Definitely. Hey, congrats on your kid, man. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take it easy, Jens. Later. Whew. Yeah. Well, that's a lot to digest. That guy has always been a favorite of mine, just watching him fight, and he's always been really cool in interviews. But, I mean, how can you not respect a guy like that, the emotion in his voice? Jorman, you're in the room here with me running the board for that. Yeah, you've probably seen him fight, like, once, twice?
A couple times, yeah. I saw the last fight with Faber.
How emotional was that, man?
That was about as real as it gets.
And for those, I mean, I'm assuming most people that downloaded this podcast or listen to this on WJFK.com or whatever, you're aware of the fact that Justin Ellis was a friend of his that was killed over an argument with his, I guess, boyfriend of his mother. They got into an argument, and the guy pulled out a gun and shot him. Well, there was a lot of media outlets that reported that in a very bad light and said, this guy's a mixed martial artist. He's involved with some crap. Can you imagine what it's like losing one of your friends and then reading that crap or hearing that crap on top of it?
To have the media belittle it and make it less than what it really is, that's awful.
Yeah, it really is terrible. And then to compound that on the fact that he's coming off a loss. The last time we talked to him, he had switched up his training, he'd moved training camps, and he's like, I need to take a break. He's like, I need to stop fighting for a bit. If you go back and listen to that interview on the Fukerton, he says, I need to take some time off. Well, they come back and immediately say, not only that, but you're going to have to fight Uriah Faber, which might be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. So, I mean, there's that. He's got a kid, and his friend dies, and it's the holidays, and I can relate. The holidays aren't the greatest time for all of us. We did a show here locally just about that, Jorman. So I got a lot of respect for Jens Pulver.
And he took time out of his day to come on and talk to us.
Yeah, and he told me before the interview, I was talking to him, he said, look, man, as soon as we're done, I'm going to go training. Can you get me in? I only got about 10 minutes, and he gave us, 20 minutes?
Yeah, 25.
Just about. So that's unbelievable. So there's a guy you can support. Check out jenspulver.com. I'm probably going to order a shirt as soon as we turn the microphones off. And that fight is for free. I don't know why you wouldn't watch that. January 25th, Sunday in San Diego. That's a WEC fight. Uriah Faber, Jens Pulver. Jamie Varner's on that card. It should be very good. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been Chad Dukes on thefukerton.com.